morning. My name is Rachel Carruthers, and I'm the events manager here at the Portland Regional Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Growth Basics for Business, a monthly breakfast seminar series which provides a forum to gain useful, do-it-yourself workplace solutions and insightful, actionable tips. I want to thank Eaton Peabody Partners for their continued support of this virtual event series for the entire season. Today's topic, Network and Grow Your Business with 15 minutes per day on LinkedIn, is presented by Dan Evans from Hydrate Marketing. If you're in sales or business development, spending time on LinkedIn is a necessity because so much of the sales cycle takes place online these days. But regardless of whether you're in sales or not, optimizing your profile and networking every day on LinkedIn has many benefits. Dan will walk us through the basics of how to optimize your profile, research leads and prospects, nurture relationships, and grow sales, all in just 15 minutes per day on LinkedIn. Like all of the Chamber's virtual signature events, today's presentation is free and is being recorded. It will be made available for free replay on the Chamber's website and YouTube page. To keep up to date on all the Chamber's news and events, visit our website, portlandregion.com. Check out our events page and sign up for our weekly email newsletter while you're there. Before we begin today's program, I just want to remind everyone that we're using a platform called StreamYard this morning. This platform provides improved production and interactive elements that truly enhance virtual events. On that note, I'd like to point out that when you have questions for our presenter today, you can type them in the YouTube chat. They'll be relayed to Dan throughout the presentation, and we'll also save time for Q&A at the conclusion of the event. At this point, I'd like to acknowledge our presenting sponsor of Growth Basics for Business, Eaton Peabody. For the past 6+ years, Eaton Peabody has been the presenting sponsor of this series, and they continue their support this season as well. Typically, we invite Eaton Peabody's marketing manager, Nate Levesque, to say a few words. In his absence, I will happily introduce my colleague, Tommy Johnson, to the stage to share a bit more about today's sponsor.
Thank you so much, Rachel, and best wishes to our friend Nate, who's still at home with his newborn child. Hopefully he's having a relaxing start to spring. But I'd like to just mention that Eaton Peabody is a full-service, Maine-based law firm with nearly 50 attorneys serving Maine clients from offices out of Augusta, Bangor, Ellsworth, and Portland. They assist companies of all sizes and variety of industries. Whether you're an established financial institution or a small business taking the first steps, they can help you with all of your legal needs. And to learn more about the services they provide and the industries that they serve, please visit their website, eatonpeabody.com. Also, be sure to follow them on Facebook or LinkedIn to stay up to date on legal updates and future presentations. Back to you, Rachel.
Thanks, Tommy. Now I would like to formally introduce today's presenter. With us today is Dan Evans, a fractional CMO and the marketing director at Hydrate Marketing, located in Lebanon, New Hampshire, and Portland, Maine. Utilizing over 20 years of sales, marketing, management, leadership, and entrepreneurial experience, Dan leads the Hydrate team in the development and implementation of data-driven branding and marketing growth strategies for clients. Founded in 2009, Hydrate Marketing prides itself on providing its clients with expert strategic marketing, design, and management, stating that you don't have to spend a fortune to have a seasoned team of professionals who know how to tell your story, drive traffic, and build brand equity. With that said, Dan, I'll hand the mic off to you. Take it away.
Wow, Rachel, thanks a lot. I feel like I don't have to say anything now. You did it. That was great. I liked your research on all of that. It's perfect. So thanks for having me and welcome everybody this morning. And it is morning, 8 o'clock in the morning. You can see on my slide, I have my contact information up there. So take note of that. You know, at the end of this presentation, you will have some questions for sure. And I welcome you to email me, call me, text me at that number, reach out and say, what the heck were you talking about when you said this? Or what was that part? And so I welcome you to do that. As Rachel said, you can chat it up. I'm going to ask you some questions along the way too. I'll be looking for a couple of people who have been active on LinkedIn to maybe speak up and let me go visit your profile. I'm going to show some slides for the beginning of the presentation. And then when we get through the slides, we'll go right into LinkedIn real time and look at some things in there. I want to tell you just a little bit about Hydrate Marketing, just so you have a foundation of who we are and what we do. As Rachel said, we're located in Portland, where I live, and Lebanon, New Hampshire, which is near the Vermont border, near Dartmouth College. And we do a lot of strategic branding, brand design, creative design, a lot of marketing strategy with our clients, and campaign planning, which includes a lot of strategy for advertising. We do lead generation for our clients and a lot of employee acquisition tactics. Along the way, and we include a lot of the things that you're familiar with: website design, SEO. We manage social media. We produce some podcasts. We manage email marketing, a lot of strategic planning and design for our clients. So that's just a little bit about us along the way. I have a friend, Graham Hawkins, who I met at the HubSpot Inbound convention a few years ago. He's a big deal on LinkedIn, and he works with people on sales strategies. And I like this comment that he made a while ago. LinkedIn is the single most powerful thing that has happened in my business in 30 years. And he said, most people do it the wrong way: spray and pray, pounce and pitch. The real value happens in the relationship building. It's not social selling. There's no selling on LinkedIn if you're doing it the right way. And so that really resonated with me, because these days, things have changed in sales. Cold calling is basically gone. A lot of people don't want to see you in person. A soft touch is what it takes, and a lot of patience in doing things the right way. And I want to talk about that. Let me give you a few stats about LinkedIn and why it's so interesting to me and should be to you. And I'm sure there are a lot of you are at different levels. Some people are in LinkedIn all the time. Some people probably don't go in there very often. And so, but let's talk about this. Each connection on LinkedIn introduces you to an average of 400 people. It's a great networking tool. 55% of decision makers use LinkedIn content to decide which companies to work with. So it behooves all of us to go in and make a presence, both with our companies and with ourselves. I actually spend more time working on myself and my networking in LinkedIn than I do on my company, though both are really good. So that's a powerful 98% of Fortune 500 companies use LinkedIn to tell stories, which is important. Content is important in LinkedIn to recruit and network. In a study of 5,000 businesses, the lead to conversion rate at 2.74% is almost 3 times higher than Twitter and Facebook. So LinkedIn is a great place to drive traffic to your website for conversion and the lead conversion path that we design. How about this one? A professional photo will generate on average 14 times more views. So it's a good idea to have that in there, listing 5 relevant skills. And we'll talk a little bit about this some more. We'll increase the chances that you'll be found and someone will message you by 31 times. You don't have to be a LinkedIn influencer to have your post shared. The 10,000 most shared, only 6% were influencers. LinkedIn is really for everybody. It's a place for you to be able to go in there and create content the way that you want to, and to show your own personal brand in your brand voice, like Paula was talking about in the social media presentation last month. Brand voice is important in this. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Interestingly, millennials comprise 59% of LinkedIn's user base, with 12.6% in decision-making positions. I was a little surprised at that. I figured it would be a bit of an older crowd on LinkedIn, but not. Interestingly, also, probably 75 to 85% of LinkedIn users are outside the US, of the 900 million or whatever that number is on there. So it's a great place. A lot of our clients do business overseas, and we have really good luck using LinkedIn to get to them, both with organic posts and networking, and with the advertising that we do on LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn's a great place to advertise. You can be super specific with who you advertise. You can choose company, you can choose roles within company, industries, length of service within companies. There's a ton that you can do that's super targeted for LinkedIn advertising. I like this one. 67% of companies look at job candidates' LinkedIn profiles, 65% at Facebook. Now, you may not be looking for a job, or you may be. Regardless, it behooves you to update your profile on LinkedIn. And that's what the first part of this presentation is about, optimizing your personal profile. Because if you're going to use LinkedIn to grow business, to network, to broadcast content, grow awareness of yourself and your company, and thereby grow sales, then you need to have a good profile. If you expect people to come and look at you, you want them to see a nice, robust profile that speaks to who you are and shows what you're all about. So let's talk about this for a minute. We're talking about personal brand on LinkedIn versus reputation. And sometimes people confuse the two, but there is a difference. Reputation, of course, is what people think about you. And it's really out of your control. I mean, you try to be a stand-up person, do the right things, be authentic and treat people the right way. That all leads to a good reputation, hopefully. But reputation is really what other people think of you based on the things that you do. Personal brand is different. You're totally in control of your personal brand. And LinkedIn is the absolute best place where you can do that. There's no other place where you can go and create your personal brand, celebrate the things that you've done, let people know who you are and your accomplishments in a way that's authentic. I talk to some people about this and some of our clients, and they're like, I don't really feel like going on and bragging about myself. But, I just say, you're not, you've worked hard. You have a great long career. Celebrate that. Let people know about it. Make yourself feel good while you're letting people know about you at the same time. So your personal brand is in your control. Everything that you put on LinkedIn is in your control. You can tell your own story, and you should. You have the power to define your brand by aligning your intentions with actions. So when you go in and tell your story and optimize your profile and create an about section that's robust and really explains who you are, what you do, what your expertise is, you really portray that image of yourself in the way that you want to, in the way that you want people to see you. And it's all true. Let's talk about your personal profile for a bit. Banner image is at the top, and then you have your profile image, and then your headline, and the about section under that. Those are the four things I want to touch on just briefly today. I usually do and often do a whole seminar just on optimizing your personal profile and your personal brand, but I just want to touch on it a little bit before we go live into LinkedIn and talk about that 15 minutes and what to do every day. Your banner image can be a bunch of different things. Your banner image, you can see for me, I have the city of Portland on there, looking across from South Portland, where my buddy Ken has his boat. And I just like to have that, I want people to know I'm in Portland. I like the background. And you can do a bunch of different things with that. You can make that more business related. If you're a business owner, a lot of people will put a business related banner image back there that you create in Canva or any place like that. So it's totally up to you. You can make it personal to show some of your personality, or you can make it professional. But of course, you always want to have a professional profile photo up there. Now, this is an interesting point here. With the headline, if you don't put anything in this section of the headline, it will grab your current job title from below in your position and put it up there. Dan Evans, Marketing Director at Hydrate Marketing. However, you can choose to use this section of your headline to make it more robust, to talk about what you do in a way that resonates with people and really says, yeah, this is my job title, but here's what my expertise is and my experience. And you can make it keyword rich. People will search keywords within LinkedIn and you can be found by those. I have strategy before tactics. People search marketing strategy, maybe I'll come up in that. So think about how you can take the headline in your profile and talk about yourself in a way that resonates with people as to who you are, not specifically your job. It takes a little bit of work, but it's a lot of fun. And again, this is the first place where people dip in and go, I really don't like to talk about myself, but it's okay. You can do that. So take some time, think about what you want to have up there and what you want to say. Let me show you some examples. Lori is accomplished. She has an MBA. She works at Farmers Insurance. She went to Rider University. She lives in Philadelphia. I'm sure she's a great employee and I'm sure she knows a lot, but she has taken no time to do anything with her profile. There's no picture, there's no banner. I don't know anything about her. She may be the most qualified person I want to hire or I want to do business with, but what do I know by looking at this? It's a missed opportunity for her to let people know about who she is and what she does. Let's take a look at another one. Back to Graham Hawkins, who lives over in Australia. He's a funny guy. You can see that he has chosen to use his banner to promote his business, Sales Tribe, specialized in outsourced sales and marketing. He works a lot with companies and their sales teams on how to sell in today's environment, which I mentioned is very different from the way that it used to be. So Graham has chosen to use the banner that way. And you can see that he's built out his headline to kind of talk about who he is and what he does. Here's my buddy Chris that I went to high school with. He works for Hoka, head of US wholesale. Chris has chosen, he's got the professional photo, but he's chosen to show mountains in the background. He's an outdoors guy. He worked for Hoka, so running, shoes, all of that. He chose to show a little bit of his personality and the way that he likes the outside. And so you have the choice to do that, whether you choose to show something that matches your personality or shows that what you're interested in outside of work, or whether you choose to focus on a work-related banner right there. Let me talk to you a little bit about optimizing your profile. The About section. So when you go down below those others, you come to the About section. This is the place where you really have the opportunity to tell your story the way it makes sense to you and the way that you want people to know about you. I like to break it down. And by the way, I'm happy to provide this to you. We'll be in touch. I'm sure a lot of us will talk. I'm happy to give you this information. But I like to break down my About section this way. What am I passionate about? I want people to know what I'm passionate about. Making meaningful connections with people has always been the most rewarding thing in my career. That's what turns me on. That's what gets me jazzed about being in business. I love that. And so then my strengths, I'll talk about that. Utilizing 20 years of marketing, entrepreneurial experience, and all of that to deliver the goods for people. That's kind of what my strengths are. What you do, goes in this section down here. And again, you can make this any way you want to, but I like this template because it really sequentially goes through and tells your story. And you want people to know your story, regardless of whether you're trying to grow your business. If you meet somebody, and here's what I do. When I meet somebody, I always say, let's meet on LinkedIn. I'm going to connect with you. And that person is going to go and look at your profile. And you want them to see this. This is what you want them to understand about you. So what you do goes in here, my expertise and my particular skills here, the industries that I tend to work with the most: manufacturing, retail, wealth management, commercial printing. It's small writing. I can't read the rest of it. Higher education. And then I don't mind putting my contact info. Not everybody wants to do that, but I'm happy to have people reach out and talk to me one-on-one. So this is a template for building out the about section about you. This is the only place, the best place that I can think of to tell your story online in a safe and authentic way, so the world knows about you, regardless, again, whether you're job hunting, trying to grow your business, getting new leads for sales. It all makes sense. So let's talk about the benefits of daily LinkedIn. Networking, of course. LinkedIn is mostly about networking. It's a lot about publishing as well. We all have a lot to say, and it doesn't matter whether it's, you don't have to be a professional content person to publish on LinkedIn. Anybody can do it. It's about building authority on who you are and what you know how to do and what your experience and your expertise is. So you back up your self with authority with the things that you do on there. It's about growing awareness of both your business and yourself. You can research on LinkedIn. And, interestingly, this year, one of the trends is that people are using social media, and LinkedIn's kind of like social media, but not exactly, using social media for research. Millennials especially are leaning on social media more than Google sometimes, a lot of times, to do research. You can go on to research a lot of things on LinkedIn. And engagement. We really want to engage with people when we're publishing content, growing awareness. Really, the goal is engaging with people and learning how to do that as best we can in the things that we do on LinkedIn. So to do every day. And by the way, I said 15 minutes every day. If you do 15 minutes every day on LinkedIn, you can do a lot. The average LinkedIn user spends, on average, 7 minutes a day on LinkedIn. Some people don't go on there for months or years. Some people spend 3 hours a day on there, depending on what they're trying to accomplish. Networking, research leads, publishing content. But if you spend 15 minutes a day, you're spending twice as much as the average person does on LinkedIn. We'll talk about that. What do? Engage with content, post content, and content can be a lot of different things. We'll look at that. Simple posts. You can do link posts that link back to your website. You can post articles. You can publish newsletters now on LinkedIn. I'll show you some of those. You can live stream content. If you're doing a webinar, you can live stream that on LinkedIn as well. Connecting with new people, of course, is the biggie. Respond to messages and notifications. A lot of people reach out to us on LinkedIn. A lot of them we don't want to talk to, and some of them we do. And if you don't go on LinkedIn every once in a while, you leave people hanging. We're really trying to get in touch with you. Some of them you may want to talk to. Join and participate in groups. There are a lot of great groups on LinkedIn. If you're in banking, if you're in travel and leisure, if you own a bed and breakfast on Sebago Lake, there are groups that are formed around what you do. If you're looking to connect with new people, let's just say that I work a lot with manufacturers and I want to connect with people in manufacturing to grow awareness of myself and make new connections, I'll join some manufacturing groups. And it's a good way to go in and see what people are talking about, find the people that I'm interested in connecting with, and then working on that process. Go in and review and update your profile every once in a while. See if you want to change something up. There's nothing wrong with doing that. If you have your banner image up for a while and you're thinking, I'm going to change it up and put something different up there, just go ahead and do it. There's nothing wrong with kind of most of the things that you'll do on LinkedIn. Unless it's really obnoxious, and I know none of you would do that. So research and follow influencers, endorse and recommend others is a great way to support other people while getting people to know you and expanding awareness of yourself and your business. Look at LinkedIn Learning. There's a lot of good classes on LinkedIn Learning. And then monitor analytics, see what's going on with the things that you're doing. Let's talk a little about the LinkedIn algorithm. Every social media platform has an algorithm. And the main goal of that algorithm with social media is to make sure that the people who are members are getting the content in front of them that's important to them, that they want, that they like. And LinkedIn is no different. There's a few best practices to think about when you're publishing content on LinkedIn. Encourage genuine, meaningful conversations versus self-promotion and jargon. So LinkedIn wants you to be authentic. They want you to be genuine. What they really want to do is encourage interaction with other LinkedIn users. If it's tempting to go on and say, you know what, buy my thing for $20. That's not what people want to see on LinkedIn. And it's not what LinkedIn is going to spread far and wide with the algorithm, because it's just too much self-promotion. So encouraging interesting conversations, putting up things that are interesting for people to learn about is the way to promote yourself on LinkedIn. And every once in a while, if you have a webinar coming up, you want to link to a landing page to get people to sign up, that's fine. The algorithm allegedly does not favor a particular post format, but we all know that video is king these days. Everybody wants video, and LinkedIn is no different. So putting up short form video, short form is anywhere from 5 seconds to 90 seconds, is a beautiful thing for LinkedIn. So think about how you can use video moving forward. And people should post things that encourage a response rather than simply drop something in and expect engagement. So questions, being provocative, thinking outside the box, trying to get somebody to think outside the box, somehow encouraging interaction with the people who will look at your post is something that LinkedIn will like, and it will give you more reach on the posts that you do. So here's a couple of examples of how people use the LinkedIn algorithm, or how it used them. This is my buddy Steve. He's my branding partner. He's kind of new to going on LinkedIn. He's got a lot of branding experience and he's fantastic. But Steve was hungry for some business. He goes, need a cartoon? I'd love to help. Reach out. My prices are great. That's not what LinkedIn wants to see. And I had to go back and tell him about that. I appreciate that. He's fantastic at what he does. That's not the type of post for LinkedIn. It's just a little too pointed. It's a little too salesy. It's a little too, hey, I'm hungry for business. And so the algorithm doesn't like it. Bill is somebody that I know through a network that we belong to. Bill has started using video on there with subtitles that automatically come up, and it's worked out well for him. You can see that he got some more reach on those. And so those are kind of the two different things. This is Steve's, the algorithm doesn't like that. It's just a little too salesy. Bill's, the algorithm likes that. It's video, it's helpful content. He wasn't sales pitchy in any way, and he got some more engagement on there than Steve did. And getting engagement takes a while. If you're looking for gratification right off the bat with LinkedIn, it's not going to happen necessarily. It takes a while. LinkedIn wants to see that you're somebody that posts fairly frequently. And of course, the question will always be, well, how much? I think at a minimum, people should post once a week, maybe twice a week. There's a school of thought where you should get 20 posts on your belt and plan, one a day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks. And does that math work? Yes, get 20 posts up there. So there's a school of thought. LinkedIn wants to see that you post regularly, that you're an authentic person. The algorithm is watching that. They're going to watch that people interact with you. And so the more you do it, the better you get at it, the more the LinkedIn algorithm gets to know you and gets to know the match between what you're talking about and the people that you're connected with or that follow you and what they want to see. And that takes some time. So instant gratification is not a great thing with LinkedIn, especially if you're in sales. Those of us that have been in sales for a long time, it's like, come on, I want to make a sale. Let me knock on the door and see if you want to buy this. That's not the way that it works on LinkedIn. It's a bit of a slower process of networking and taking a soft approach that people that have been in sales for a long time sometimes have a hard time with. So that's a little bit about the algorithm. And here's some more about how it assesses your posts. So it automatically right off the bat will say, well, how's the post quality? And the algorithm will look at your post and assess it. Is it a good post? Is it not spammy? Is it nice? Does it not say anything too controversial? Is it not political? I had somebody who I was connected with, and 2 or 3 years ago, they really just started putting some political posts up on LinkedIn. And I wanted to say, you know what, this is not the platform for this. And so I dropped them as a connection because I couldn't stand it anymore. LinkedIn will look at that as well. So the post quality, is it good information? Does it seem authentic? It will assess that. The next thing it will do is test it. Do people like it? Are they looking at it? Are you getting likes? Are you getting comments? Is anybody sharing it? The more that the testing is positive, the more that it will spread it for you, broadcast it to more people. Member activity. Are people engaging with your content? If they're engaging with the content, then it grows even more. And this happens on Facebook as well too. Facebook advertising. When we boost a Facebook post, sometimes we'll wait and see, how the engagement is before boosting it. If people seem to like it and then we boost it, it's even better. Is it relevant? The algorithm will assess whether it's relevant to the people that you're connected with, the people that follow you. Is there a match between what you're talking about and what they want to see? Now, I went against that rule this past weekend because I was out in Salt Lake City last week, and I went to the Great Salt Lake, and I hadn't been there since I was a kid. And I took some photos and I talked about it, and I wanted to see what would happen. So I put it up as a post on Sunday morning. And it's got nothing to do with business. It's got nothing to do with marketing or branding or sales or any of that stuff. But I just wanted to see, and it was okay. I got some people that liked it. I wanted to try it. It's certainly not relevant, but I was curious. Posts that get engagement, question-based. It's always great to ask a question. You want to encourage engagement from the people who are in there. Timely updates. Industry insights, visual posts, infographics do really well on LinkedIn. And there's a lot of easy ways. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Canva. Canva is a great way to go in and size your photos the right way, make infographics and all of that. You can even use AI now with Canva. They have a new AI feature, which is pretty cool. So visual posts, infographics do well. Employee-centric posts. LinkedIn is a great place to talk about your company culture. We do that a lot with our clients. We have a division of Fujifilm that we work with, and we spend a lot of time talking about culture there. They're always looking to hire, and people want to see what it's like. If people are going to come and work at your company, this is a great place to show what's it like to work here? What do we do? Is it fun? Is it deathly boring? Can they be both? Event mentions, videos, awards and accomplishments, and advice. Those are the things that tend to get the most engagement on LinkedIn. Here's some bite-sized advice, just as an example. You can see this is a very short post, but easy to digest and quick. You don't have to write War and Peace when you put a post up there from LinkedIn. It can be very short and to the point, and these do well. You can see it's just a little bit of advice with some bullet points, and then you can do this with some more bullet points. Those are the types of posts that you can do. Let's switch gears on this. Best times to post are listed there. Some of them are interesting. Tuesday, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And you can schedule a post on LinkedIn, just like you can other platforms as well. And again, I'll share this with you. I'm sure a lot of us will talk afterward. I'm happy to show you the slideshow and share this information. But there are times when you want to think about when you're going to post on LinkedIn, when it's likely to get the most reach. Okay, I'm going to switch up now, Riley. I'm going to go over to LinkedIn and have a look at it. So when you log into LinkedIn, and again, a lot of you know this very well, some of you may not know it as well. And if you're thinking about what am I going to do every day on LinkedIn, this is how I like to do it. So you end up here in your feed. This is the home button right there. And basically you can see your information over here. I've had 106 viewers come. My recent posts have had 495 impressions. Here are some of the pages that I manage for clients. Here are some of the things that I've looked up recently. Here are some of the groups I belong to, some events, and some of the hashtags that I follow. So when you come on and look at this, you'll see the feed of people that you're connected with, that will post, people that you follow. LinkedIn will try to match what it thinks you're interested in. Of course, this is an ad because you can see promoted here. LinkedIn will try to match what it thinks you're interested in with what it shows you, of course, like all social media does. Arco is a guy that lives out in Tucson that I've done some work with at his company out there. And so it knows I like to look at Arco stuff, and I often engage with it. We'll talk about engagement in a minute. So this is your feed. Go through and check it out. And what do you want to do that for? Well, you want to see what people are up to. But the other thing you want to do is go in and see who's engaging with this post. So Arco put this post up. Whoops. And so I want to go in and see, who's looked at it? Is there anybody here that I'm interested in connecting with? I'll assess that, and if I want to do that, I'll connect with them. But there's that. My network. This is an important place to start off and spend some time. So just working across the menu, go to My Network, and you've all seen this before. This is where people hit you up all day long and try to connect with you. Jacob, interestingly, we do have a mutual connection, but I don't know Jacob. And you'll find, and you have found, that a lot of people will try to connect with you. You have no clue who they are, and you don't want to be connected with them. So quality is better than quantity, but you have more tools to use if you have at least 500 connections. So you do want to get there, but it shouldn't be just anybody. So it does take a little bit of work. Nathan Walker follows me and is inviting me to connect. You can see again, Nathan Walker doesn't even have his picture up there. I don't know anything about Nathan Walker. I did look at him yesterday. I don't know who he is. I'm going to ignore that. Here's GeoCon. A lot of my friends live in New Hampshire, work at GeoCon. It's a manufacturing company. And they just started publishing a newsletter, which is a cool thing. And you can do that too. You can change your settings up and publish a newsletter for your company. It will go to your followers and they get notified by email when you publish the newsletter. So if you're doing a monthly email newsletter, you may want to take the opportunity to publish your newsletter on LinkedIn. They want me to subscribe, have invited me to do that. I'm going to accept. There's a lot of people on here. I'm not going to follow them. I'm not going to connect with them because if I connect with them, all of their connections are going to see that we have somebody in common. I have no reason to. Probably a lot of them are nice people, but I just don't know them, and I don't know why I should connect with them. And so I'm not going to, for the most part. If you go down below there top emerging creators to follow. So you may want to follow some people who, can give you good content ideas, who are motivating. And these are the people that really work on content a lot. You can follow them. People with similar roles. So if I'm looking to connect with people that are in marketing like I am, here's where I can find them. If you're in banking or in real estate, you'll find people who are in banking and real estate down here. LinkedIn will show you that. Now, do you want to connect with them right off the bat? You don't really, unless you know them. Sometimes I'll connect with somebody right off, but more often than not, I won't. I'll go look at them if I think they're interesting and see if they're creating any content which I can like and engage with and start that relationship process. But in most cases, I recommend just don't reach out and connect with people unless you start to get to know them. If I meet somebody at a chamber networking event, I absolutely will go and connect with them. If you go down, I went to the University of New Hampshire. So here's some people that went to UNH that I may know. Looking in there, I don't know any of them, but if I wanted to connect with them, I could say, Carmen, she's president at Lakes Region Chamber. I went to UNH too. She probably would accept this and understand why I want to connect. Other people would, go, I don't really know you. I don't know what you want to do. You're trying to sell me something. I don't want to connect. But if you know somebody and you feel confident that you can connect with them, go ahead and do that. And we'll look at that. People I may know based on my recent activity of what I've gone to look at and where I've been, those are people that you can follow. So interestingly too, you'll see on here that, and LinkedIn does this in a bunch of ways, it will show you the people that you have connections with. And so Megan and I have 3 mutual connections. I may go and look and just see who that is. These three people we have in common, Myra, Carl, and Danielle. And so if I wanted to connect with Megan, I could say, hey, Megan, Carl Lovejoy is a great friend of mine, and I work with him at Moosalog Visions. Maybe we can be LinkedIn friends. And so that's a good way to kind of introduce myself and kind of go in there and get to know Megan. Let's go back to my network. And so that's a little bit about connecting with people. You want to be choosy about that. Messaging is what it is. You can see that I've been messaging with several people. Rich Brooks and I connected yesterday, had some messaging going back and forth, and then notifications. This is a good place to visit because it tips you off to what's happening with your network and the people that you're connected with and the people that you follow. So you always want to go through here. Graham Hawkins, who we looked at, made a comment. Some people reacted to my post about Salt Lake City. I may want to go do this. This is an interesting one. Tony May liked my comment. So Tony May works for a investigations company down in North Carolina that we did some business with. And so I would like to go back and do some more business with Advantage Investigations. And so I keep in touch with them. And Tony was my guy. And, we did a lot of business together. And so when I see a post come up from them, I'll go in and say, hey, all I did was say, Tony May. And he liked the post. You can see here. And my reason for doing that is just I want to stay in front of him. And so I want him to remember that I'm here and that I'm thinking of him, that I'm looking at what he's doing and I'm following his posts. And so that's a little bit of the networking and a little bit of the engagement. And that's how I use LinkedIn, just to network with people and find them. Let's look at a different thing. Let's suppose that I want to connect with some people in manufacturing. I'm going to go up to the search bar and put in manufacturing. This is where you can do a lot of research of people, of companies. If you're looking for new people to connect with, if you're looking for what people are talking about and you want to create some content and see what they're talking about, people who work within your industry, you can do some research here. So I just did manufacturing, and a lot of things come up. I want to go to people because I want to see who's working in manufacturing. For me, that's important. Okay, so here's some people. I can filter it again over here by location. Let's take Portland. So I can filter people in manufacturing in the Portland area. If I'm looking for people that I want to connect with and start following in a very subtle way, this is how I'll do it. If you want to find new prospects for your business, this is how you can research it. Joshua, Director of Manufacturing at Sterling Rope, and my friend Marty is a mutual connection, so that's good. Remember, LinkedIn will always show mutual connections, so you can say, hey, I know Marty too, let's do some business. Tony DeMarco is a global manufacturing at Vice President at IDEX, and we have two mutual connections. My cousins, Benjamin and David, are connected to Tony. So that's a good in for me. If I want to strike up a conversation with Tony, I'm just going to go to Tony and see if he does some posts. If he has some posts that I want to comment on, I'll just like the post. If he has somebody who commented on his post that I want to connect with, I might just go like their comment. In a lot of cases, they'll come back and say, who the heck's Dan Evans? Maybe I'll look at him. And we grow our connections that way as well. So you can see, for my research on people in manufacturing, when I want to go out and see who I want to start developing relationships with, I start here. And you can do lots of different research on that, and you'll know who your mutual connections are. Let's talk about publishing. So if we go back to home, you can start a post here. If you want to go and see what I've done for posts and look at me, always go to the person's profile. If you open up somebody's profile, you'll end up here. And if you want to see if they've posted something and you want to go in and comment on it, read it, see who's interacting with it, go down here to activity and then say show all posts. So you can see there's my Salt Lake City post I did over the weekend just as an experiment. I made it a little bit long and story-like just because I felt like it. I felt like writing about it. It was meaningful to me. And was it business related? No, but it was the weekend and I thought, maybe I'd try to be entertaining. And I got a little bit of interaction in there. The other thing you can do, and I recommend this, when you put up a post, if you want to get more reach with your post, go down to the comment section and then copy people you know. LinkedIn recommends that, and it's a great thing. You're not doing anything bad. I had somebody who worked for me for a while goes, you know what, that's cheesy. I don't want to do it. And that was not the case. And they don't work for me anymore. But it's not a bad thing. And it's common practice for people who really want to get the word out. Like any other social media platform, when you publish something, some people will see it and some people won't, especially on Facebook these days. You have to pay to play. The reach is just not what it used to be with organic posts. So go in here. I just copied the names of a bunch of people I thought of off the top of my head. These people work at Fujifilm. They're my clients. This guy's my client. This guy's my friend. This guy's a prospect. I'd like to do business with him, as well as this one too. These are my nephews. I just go in and plug a bunch of people in. So depending on what you post and what the topic is and the content, think about who you want to see this and just go in there and tag a bunch of people in that post. It's okay to do that. So if you're researching me and you're thinking, oh, these people like the post, I may go in this. I'll do this with other people. Just think, oh, okay, Elizabeth Austin, John Seaman, CTO at the Seaman Company. Let's see what he's up to. He has a lot of connections. He has not posted anything, so it's going to be hard for me to interact with him. I'm not going to do it. So we're going to close this out, but the things that you can do on here include articles, images, videos, and all of that. So if I go back to home, I can start a post here. And so when you create a post, it takes some thought. By the way, you can use AI, and we'll talk after this, reach out. AI is a great way to get post suggestions. I do a webinar on that as well. But I've already created a post that I want to put up in notes on my computer. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to drop it in here. Is it time to rebrand? If you've been considering a rebrand for your company, here's some questions. You can see it's a question related post. I'm trying to encourage some engagement and give some people some things to think about. Are you not staying up to date with customer preferences? Has your business model changed? And your brand doesn't really match what you do now or what you sell or the way that you are. It might be time to go in and refresh it. Do any of these sound like you? And then some hashtags. When you're using hashtags on LinkedIn, maximum of 3, 1, 2, or 3. They don't recommend that you use more than 3 hashtags, unlike Instagram when you can put like 9. So think about that. You can go in if you want to rewrite this with AI, if you want to see what it will do. I did that. It didn't change this a lot, but that's a new thing that you can do. If you want to change this into a link post, you can drop in a link in here. Let's just say I put it right here. I'm just going to do it for the fun of it. You can put the link in there and it will make it a link post. And it will bring up, you've seen these a bunch, it will show the link to the Why Rebrand article on the Hydrate Marketing website. So think about this in a few ways. We've only got a few minutes left, so I'm going to wind down on this. But if you're working for a company, employee advocacy is a great way to do it. If you have a small company and you're posting company-related information, it's great to have your employees post it too. I'll always post what we put on our own company page. I have a lot more followers than we do on our company page. And so it's okay to do that. I'm just going to copy and paste that in there, and it makes it a link post. I can go back after the fact now and get rid of that link, and the link will stay there. So you don't want both of those in there. And then basically I'm leading people to that. So, LinkedIn, you never know. Like all social media platforms, they want you to stay on their platform and they don't want you to leave. So LinkedIn may like this, they may not, but if I can get somebody to go to my website, I might try it. I'm just going to post it. So that's a little bit, we're running out of time. We could talk about this a lot more. I would like to see if we have any questions from people related to the things that we've talked about. And again, if you have questions for me, you can always contact me with that information that I put up there. Riley, do we have any questions?
Yes. So, hi, everyone.
You're not right. You're not Riley.
I am not Riley. Riley is the magician backstage. But we do have a couple questions today.
Sure.
The first one has popped up on the screen for you. Does it matter how many connections I have on LinkedIn? I was under the impression that greater than 500 was the magic number.
Yep. Yeah. When you have at least 500, it opens up some doors for you. That's absolutely right. And let me show you something about that. Um, if you have at least 500 connections and you want to live stream a webinar or whatever it is, or you want to publish a newsletter, which is a cool tool, and I really recommend that. I just really like that. We all do email marketing. Turn that into a newsletter that you publish on this, and all of your followers get to see it. But you have to have at least 500 people, and then you want to go down to, in your profile, resources. I'm not sure if you can still see my screen, but creator mode, and you turn on the creator mode and you're able to do those things. So yes, aiming for at least 500 is good, but again, you don't want just anybody.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. And just one more question, selfishly from me.
Okay.
So how often should you post on LinkedIn for optimal engagement? What number of posts becomes too much or a hindrance to getting more engagements? Because I've seen statistics about over 30 times being, a hindrance to you, actually.
Sure. Yep. I think like a lot of social media, you want to remain present. So you want to look like you're alive and you want to look like you're engaged. So I would go on there at least once a week. But there's nothing wrong. There are people who do it several times a day. I think that's overkill. Just like on Facebook, it's not really recommended to go in several times a day and post there. So, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing one per day, but at least one or two per week.
Okay. I will rein myself in then.
Yeah, you have a lot of content create, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with any of these. Nobody's going to look at you. And remember, because this is organic posting, some of your followers will see it and some of them won't, depending on what you say. So you're not going to do anything wrong. There's nothing wrong with posting a lot. There's nothing wrong with what you say, as long as it's tasteful and authentic, and people can learn from it.
Well, thanks again, Dan. This has been an incredible presentation today, very informative. And of course, thank you so much to my fellow chamber staff, Riley Legier and Tommy Johnson, for helping to produce yet another successful virtual event. Thank you again to each of you for attending today and throughout the year. If you're interested in continuing the conversation with Dan today and learning more, be sure to check your email for a follow-up message with links to additional resources. Another shout out to our sponsor, Eaton Peabody, for their support of this series. Eaton Peabody Growth Basics for Business series is typically held on the third Tuesday of each month. We look forward to seeing you again on April 16th for the next Growth Basics for Business, which will feature a presentation by health professionals Michelle Joubert from Ellie Mental Health and Leslie Willett-Todd from Nourish Lifestyles on supporting mind and body, prioritizing mental and physical wellness in business. So with that, thank you again for attending today's Growth Basics for Business. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone.